So let's look now at some substitution involving terms with indices, fractions and negative numbers. If you watched the first video on substitution, you will have seen we dealt with an example involving indices. If you haven't seen this video, I'd strongly recommend you go back and watch. So let's start with a tricky example straight away. I'm going to use two variables in this example. I'm going to use x and y. A reminder that these are called variables because they can change in value. So we're going to use the following expression. Now this is an expression because an expression is defined as something that can change in value when x or y changes. And we know x or y change because they are called variables. So let's have a look now at a situation when x equals 3 and y equals -2. Now, in part 1 we introduced 3 steps to this process. Step 1 was to write out the expression. Step 2 was to substitute into the expression. And step 3 was to calculate. We're going to do the same here. So, what does 5x mean? It means 5 multiplied by x. Well done. What about y squared? Y multiplied by y. 2xy? Well, remember, we don't often write a certain symbol in algebra. We don't write the multiply symbol because it looks too much like our friend x. So, 2 times x times y is the meaning of the last one. Now, that's step 1, that's writing it out. Now we come to substitute. So, every place there is an x, I'm going to write 3. Every place there is a y, I'm going to write -2. You'll notice here in the middle, I've got 2 symbols next to each other, and we'll deal with that in a minute. So, we've now substituted in our value. Now we have to calculate. Now in the previous part, this was always done in 1 step, or 2 steps if it was hard. But we can take as many as needed. So, I've got multiplication and addition here. So a reminder that I still have to follow BIDMAS. A reminder that division and multiplication can be done in any order. So, that's 15. I'll leave the add there. I'll tackle this one next. -2 times -2. So, if you've forgotten, we'll do an example here. What's 2 times 2? It's 4. So what would 2 times minus 2 have to be? It would have to be minus 4. Okay, that's because we changed this one here, so it's going to have to change our answer. So now I'm going to change the other one. What will happen to the answer? You might have two thoughts in mind. The first one might be, well, it's got to change, so it should change back to 4. But how can I have negatives and then have a positive answer? Well, that is a bit confusing at first, but your first instinct to change the answer back was the correct one. So well done. We're now dealing with 4. So let's go back to here and put our answer in. Negative 2 times negative 2, or if you prefer, minus 2 times minus 2 is 4. So this confusing add and subtract next to each other isn't a problem now. Okay, I've written the add in because of bid mass. Let's do some multiplying. 2 times 3, 6, well done, times negative 2. Well, it looks a lot like this one here. We know that 6 times 2 would be 12. So 6 times negative 2 must be negative 12. Okay. All right. Let's get to our next stage and look at what we've got here. We'll come to that in a second. 15 add 4 is 19. Then we've got to add negative 12. Now, to do this, I think you need to follow a similar approach to what we did with multiplying, which is to consider something different. What would 19 add 12 be? Then you need to consider what you'll do if you had 19 add negative 12. Well, it doesn't matter what the answer here is, but we know that adding 12 will make the number go up by 12. So what will happen if we add negative 12? Well, the number should go down. By how many should it go down? It should go down by 12. So 19 add negative 12 is the same as 19 subtract 12. Which leaves us with 7. Now, negative numbers is a tricky topic. I think that some people would really benefit from tackling a few examples of negative numbers separately. In the next few examples, we will work through some and allow you to see how that works. I'm going to move to part 3 now, because that was a long example. Make sure you copy it down and think through all the stages you need.